Hello, I'm Hillel Neuer, Executive Director of UNWRA. I'd like to welcome you, our loyal friends and supporters around the globe, to the launch of the annual UNWRA Fundraising Campaign. It's an opportunity to show your support and solidarity for UNWRA, for you to partner with me and our incredible team to ensure the continuation of UNWRA's vital work, to fight dictatorships and double standards at the United Nations, to stand up against the worst forms of anti-Israeli bigotry in the international arena, and to defend the true principles of human rights. My friends, we're living through difficult and challenging times. Yet despite the pandemic, our challenges, our battles, have continued nonstop. Let me tell you what's actually happening tomorrow in Brussels. UNWRA, the UN agency that runs schools for Palestinians, is convening an international conference of donor states to request another $800 million from the US, the UK, Germany, France, the European Commission, Canada, Australia, and numerous other Western states. Now, despite what it claims, UNWRA is not part of the solution. It's part of the problem. The agency exists only to perpetuate the conflict by multiplying generation upon generation of Palestinians as so-called refugees, and by promoting the myth of a right of return, which would mean the end of Israel as a Jewish state. Now, over the past few months, UNWRA has exposed more than 100 UNWRA teachers and other staff who glorify Hitler, spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and incite terrorism. We carefully went through their public social media posts, and we documented everything. Our expose made headlines worldwide. Thanks to UNWRA, UNWRA is now on the defensive. The US and other donor states demanded action. Pressure mounted, and UNWRA suspended several of the teachers and announced an investigation. Now, this has prompted outrage in Gaza. Let me quote from the news report by Al Jazeera. A union gathering in Gaza revealed that UNWRA, known for its support for the Israeli occupation state, filed complaints against UNWRA employees in the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, Syria, and Lebanon, after expressing their political positions on social media platforms. The head of the Professional Syndicate Association, Suhail Al-Hindi, accused UNWRA of submitting to the pressure of Zionist institutions against employees whose only crime is that they express their national affiliations. Well, friends, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep pressing UNWRA and our own governments for accountability. We demand to know, why is our tax money, hundreds of millions of dollars from the US, Canada, the UK, EU states, Australia, going to fund teachers of anti-Semitic hate? If UNWRA proclaims a policy of so-called zero tolerance toward incitement, why do they continue to employ teachers who glorify Hitler? It's outrageous. Friends, day in and day out, thanks to the commitment, dedication, and generosity of our supporters, UNWRA is getting out the truth, holding the UN to account, and defending the true principles of human rights. Our videos have been watched by millions. Our loyal followers on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram play a key role in spreading our message to broad audiences around the globe. Today, I'm asking you to go further than just liking and sharing our content. We need to raise $1 million by the end of this month to ensure the continuation of UNWRA's vital work. Thanks to several of our generous donors, we've already raised half. Now we need your help to raise the remaining amount. That is why we're launching our 5-5 for 500,000 social media campaign. We're asking you, our social media community worldwide, to make a $5 donation and to then inspire 5 friends to do the same so that we can reach our remaining target of $500,000. Now, it might not sound like much, but if every one of our social media followers gives $5 and asks 5 friends to do the same, it can make all the difference, and we can achieve our goal. 5 friends who care about the fight against anti-Semitism and Israeli bigotry. 5 friends who care about defending democracy and human rights. I know they're out there, you know them, and I'm counting on you to share our vital work and ask them to contribute to the cause. And now, we'd like to share with you a behind-the-scenes account of some of the dramatic battles that we fought over the history of UNWRA. Please take a look at this brief but powerful video. Seven decades ago, the United Nations was founded to ensure international peace and human rights for all. But over time, the world body became a safe haven for brutal regimes. Starting in the 1970s, the Arab states turned the UN against Israel.
Israel persists in ethnic cleansing, racial discrimination, destruction of homes, aggression against places of worship.
These violations include extrajudicial killing, arbitrary detention, collective punishment, displacement of Syrian families,
a flagrant violation of international law,
colonization and apartheid,
murdering innocent civilians.
When you have the UN condemning Israel as a racist country, well, it erodes Israel's legitimacy, it erodes and weakens Israel's ability to defend itself on the battlefield if nations don't support you in international fora. We realized that the United Nations in many cases is a threat and danger, but it's also an opportunity.
United Nations Watch, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. UN Watch is a human rights organization. We are the leading organization fighting anti-Israel bias and anti-Semitism at the United Nations. In 1993, Morris Abram, a renowned civil rights leader who had worked closely with Martin Luther King, founded UN Watch. Ambassador Abram drew eminent figures to the UN Watch board and created a legacy. With the advent of social media, the world changed. Now under the leadership of Ambassador Alfred Moses, a prominent attorney and diplomat, UN Watch's audience exploded, reaching millions worldwide. In 2007, something changed at the United Nations. For the first time, it began to be filmed. You ask, what has become of the founder's dream, of Eleanor Roosevelt, of René Cassin, of John Humphrey, P.C. Chang, Charles Malik, who assembled here in Geneva 60 years ago? Mr. President, with terrible lies and moral inversion, this council is turning that dream into a nightmare. The chairman at the time, he really didn't like the speech, and he pointed his finger and he said,
Por primera vez.
For the first time in the session, I will not express thanks for that statement.
He banned the speech. I could never give that speech again. And when I walked out, I realized, wait a minute, this is on video, which was new at the time. And I said, no, put it on YouTube, put it up. When we put it up there, suddenly this video goes viral. We had said the truth, and the UN didn't want to hear the truth. In 2001, the United Nations held its most important anti-racism conference. It was really a traumatic event for Jews worldwide. At a conference, a global conference for human rights against racism became a conference demonizing Israel and the Jewish people. Suddenly, 8 years later, in 2009, the UN began to plan the sequel for that conference, the Durban II conference. And UN Watch took the lead in organizing the counter-effort. We held a real human rights conference the day before the Durban conference. A few days before the conference began, we brought someone to speak, a mystery guest.
I don't know if you recognize me. I am the Palestinian medical intern who was scapegoated by your country, Libya, in the HIV case in Benghazi hospital, together with the 5 Bulgarian nurses.
And you could see it, she went into shock. Before the conference began, we had exposed the hypocrisy of the Libyans chairing a conference on racism. The fact that Durban IV was held in 2021 and 38 countries pulled out, that was terrific. So that's encouraging, and that gives us inspiration. In March 2017, the UN had just published a report to accuse Israel of apartheid. Now I'd like to ask the members of that commissioned that report, the Arab states from which we just heard, Egypt, Iraq, and the others, how many Jews live in your countries? How many Jews lived in Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco? Once upon a time, the Middle East was full of Jews. Algeria had 140,000 Jews. Algeria, where are your Jews? Egypt used to have 75,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Syria, you had tens of thousands of Jews. Where are your Jews? Iraq, you had over 135,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Mr. President, where is the real apartheid? Why is there a UN commission on the Middle East that does not include Israel? I know for Jews who come from the Middle East, no one ever talks about them. And for a moment, someone did for a couple of minutes at the UN. It meant a lot for them. And then it just went viral around the world, and it's been seen about 10 million times. It was September 2017. We brought a surprise speaker.
Thank you. United Nations Watch.
I take the floor on behalf of the UN Watch. My name is Mus'ab Hassan Youssef. I grew up in Ramallah as a member of Hamas. I ask, where does your legitimacy come from?
That video has been seen millions of times and seen by so many people around the world. And, of course, because he's Palestinian, he's Muslim, he's Arab, he's the son of Hamas. His words carried a special weight.
The suffering of the Palestinian people is the outcome of your selfish political interest. You are the greatest enemy of the Palestinian people. You use this platform to mislead the international community, to mislead the Palestinian society, to believe that Israel is responsible for the problem you create.
UN Watch was able to give him that platform and to get the truth out to the world. It was one of those moments when you knew that something epic had happened at the UN and the son of Hamas had stunned the United Nations into silence with his words of truth. Our impact is global. We have millions of followers around the world. Our videos are seen worldwide. Our words get quoted in major newspapers, 600 newspapers a year, that our words get seen by millions through our videos. That gives us inspiration. We know it's an uphill battle. We refuse to give up, and we're going to keep fighting for the truth. Every bit of support that we get, whether it's a like or a share or a donation, is wind in our sails, and we believe that the day will yet come when we can make the world a better place. That was just a glimpse of the battles we've fought over the years to be your voice at the United Nations. As part of this year's campaign, we'll be holding 3 exclusive live video events for our supporters on Facebook and Instagram, giving you the opportunity to hear about our activities and to ask me any questions. Our first Instagram and Facebook Live will be this Thursday on the topic of how we fight anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli bigotry at the UN, which has become ground zero for the global campaign to delegitimize the Jewish state. Next week, in our second event, I'll take you inside the UN system itself to share insights into how we monitor the United Nations and lead the battle against repressive regimes that are routinely elected to UN human rights bodies. Finally, for our third video live, I'll be discussing our work to defend human rights, where we bring the world's most courageous dissidents to confront their oppressors and to tell the truth in the face of dictatorships at the UN like Iran, China, and Venezuela, which tell lies to cover up their records of abuse. So, if you'd like to ask any question at all about these topics, this is your chance. Please email your questions in advance to events@unwatch.org, and I'll do my very best to answer as many as I can. Anything you've been dying to know about UN Watch's work, this is your chance to ask me. Again, send an email to events@unwatch.org. We'll be posting the details of these events on our social media channels. Now, before signing off, please don't forget to make your $5 donation and to ask 5 friends to do the same. Your support will allow UN Watch to continue to walk into the assembly of darkness and light the candle of truth. We will continue to fight anti-Israeli bigotry at the UN and stand up for human rights everywhere. And we will continue to be your voice at the United Nations. Thank you for joining us here today, and thank you for showing that you care about UN Watch. I'll see you all again this Thursday, November 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern